Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Future Islands record, Singles. Maryland via North Carolina synth pop outfit Future Islands has come out with their fourth full-length record. I have been a follower of their exploits for a while now, ever since I heard some of the more popular cuts off of their 2010 album In Evening Air. Songs like Tin Man and Walking Through That Door. And on this record, and the band's next record as well, I found some really simple, straightforward, sort of bare bones, drum machine backed synth pop that made up for its simplicity with some very solid, good songwriting, strong melodies, and the incredible vocals of frontman Samuel T. Herring, which have kind of been a selling point for the band lately ever since they did a surprise Letterman performance a few weeks ago. What was jaw-dropping about this late-night performance was the level of intensity that the band, especially Samuel, performed with. There were plenty of tight dance grooves in the performance, rushes of synthesizers, as well as Samuel singing over these tracks with his trademark, very soulful rasp that went through a range of pitches, but the real high notes of this performance are when he sort of pulls into these guttural death growls that really are something different for this genre. Sam really does have a set of pipes that could possibly rival that of some of my favorite death metal singers, which is a move I suggest the band go into if this whole Future Islands thing does not pan out. Either that or dancing. Anyway, with this electrifying performance of the band's lead single from this new record, it seemed that a lot of people were kind of finding out about this band for the first time. And my faith in them as a band was rekindled a little bit, because with each record of theirs that I have been following so far, they've always dropped 2, 3, or 4 songs onto it that I loved, but then the rest of the record, I can kind of take or leave. So I was kind of hoping that Singles would just push me over the edge into full-on loving a Future Islands record from front to back. Especially with such a lead track off of this thing and an album title that kind of insinuates that maybe every song is going to be as catchy as the next. However, Singles does not really deliver on the level of intensity that people might be expecting from Future Islands, given that they may have seen that Letterman performance or have caught a bunch of live dates that the band has performed at recently. I mean, truth be told, their live sets have kind of been notorious for being just a bit more energetic than what they do on record, because here, with a lot of the tracks, I feel like they play it kind of safe, instrumentally and vocally. While a lot of tracks here are catchy, there are really only a few spots where Future Islands come off as fierce. On top of that, I feel this record does exemplify an Achilles heel that I think has been following Future Islands through nearly every record of theirs, and that's the production. To me, a lot of the songs here feature a pretty flat mix of synthesizers, drum machines, and bass, with Sam's vocals sitting atop all of it pretty comfortably. Nothing sounds too bright. I think overall the instrumentation on this thing is a little sapped of color. The beats on this record constantly sit on the back burner, not even on the back burner, but on the back of the back burner. I wish they were louder, or even just had a crisper tone. I wish they were propelling the instrumentation more aggressively, especially as these songs explode into choruses where it seems like it's really only the synthesizers or maybe even some distorted bass that gets louder. And I'm not that crazy about some of the synth textures used on these tracks too, like the really squeaky, high-pitched tones wailing away in the background of Sun in the Morning, or some of the watery reverb tones on the song Spirit, which very messily color the background, and I feel like on synth lines like this, and others on here too, there's a lot to be desired in terms of placement. I feel like there's not a whole ton of precision to the way these synths are played. And the bass tone leaves a lot to be desired as well. It's either this very flat, hollow sound or kind of this bland distortion that brings a bit of heaviness when the band's trying to thicken up a chorus. Occasionally, I feel like the instrumentation here shoots for something sort of quaint, light, a little more spacious, reminding me quite a bit of like a Beach House record. There we are. This is especially true of the track Like the Moon. However, even though the Beach House comparison, even though that Beach House sound is very apparent, it stirs up nowhere near as much emotion for me here as it does here. Once again, on this new record, Future Islands essentially deliver a record that has a really solid, unbreakable chassis and a souped-up engine of great songwriting and really fantastic vocal performances, but the body sitting on top of these things is like that of an economy car. I actually didn't even start enjoying this LP fully until I listened to it strictly on headphones numerous times. Because the mix of this album, the instrumentation is just not very full, it's not very warm, and I felt like the only way to really even give the record a bit of punch or make it seem like it has a bit of punch is to just bring it into a very close, intimate setting. Then I was able to appreciate how good some of the songs on this thing really are, even though, like I said, some of the performances are reserved. But that doesn't stop songs like Seasons from just being really good. No. Seasons change. Wonderful track, sweetly ringing with synth melodies, a very live snare drum with some tambourine mixed in there too, and a killer refrain and vocal melody. I've been waiting on you. Sun in the Morning as well. I mean, just really solid song. She gives me daily soul. And the vocals, even though the instrumentation is not that fantastic, they continue to be powerful, moving, very dramatic, theatrical. Doves, another great song. I love the collective whoo-hoo on the chorus. Really nice rush of sound with the hook there. If there's any way that Singles really does live up to its title, it is that the record track list overall is pretty no BS. There are no songs on here that kill the momentum of the record. We have one concise, succinct verse, chorus, verse track after another. Even the slow burners on this LP, the ballads, don't lose sight of a really straightforward pop appeal. One of my favorite slow burners on here, Song for Our Grandfathers, is not only a sweet song in terms of melody, but I think it is the sweetest song on this entire LP in terms of sentiment. It's a pretty touching song speaking directly about our elders, the influence that they continue to have on us, their guidance, their guardianship that they have on us, possibly beyond the grave. Again, song for song, I really dig what Future Islands is dishing out. And again, I mean, this band features one of the most interesting vocals in underground or independent, whatever you want to call it, pop music today. It's just that I'm still not very enamored with the sound of their instrumentation and the production they use to present their songs. And while I do think this record is an improvement and is much more focused than Future Islands' last album, I'm still not in love with this one. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Transition. What did you think of this thing? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Future Islands, forever.